Greetings, groovy people! Welcome to the channel. I'm the self-proclaimed Blue Dragon. This is an art channel targeting an adult audience, and I primarily talk about my free, not safe for work webcomic Dark Horse, links down in the description. However, I've been kind of this whole month obsessing over talking about this zine submission, which is Dark Horse themed, but it is a one-shot, How I Spent My Vacation, which is just a little story set in the 90s with my main characters, Kana and Rena. This submission I am turning into the Erratia Beat, Thank God for the 90s zine. I think that's the title of it. That might be the working title, but I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to settle on. But I've been wanting to talk about this project a lot. It's first off a paid gig, and it's also something that I really want to promote and that I've been pushing myself really hard to do some of my best work, which I arguably should be doing with my comic. I do that with my comic, but unfortunately my art with the comic has kind of been sliding, and I'll talk about that in another video because I've got the Q&A coming up, and I've got someone who asked me a question about art block because I was kind of bitching about it over on Patreon. But anyway, I digress. Oh my gosh, I'm really hyper this morning. Oh. Anyway, so I've got this transformation sequence, which I talked about in last week's video. And last week I was showing you how I ended up coloring and creating some effects for Rena. But this week I want to show you what I did for the background, because for Kana, I was fortunate enough that I have some digital tones that I got from a packet that I bought at Barnes & Noble, like way back when I was in college. And yes, I still use those. I bought it. I'm going to use it, y'all. But for Rena, there were some water tones that I found that I think were free, but I wasn't really sure. So I was like, I don't want to like really fuck this up and use somebody else's thing without knowing for sure that it's commercial for use. So instead I decided I'm gonna go ahead and do my own background. And luckily last year, like before this even had become a project that was a ping on my mind, there was this TikTok video that was actually circulating Twitter, because I'm not on TikTok. It's just not my thing. Kudos to anyone who likes it. It's just totally not my thing. But this tutorial was really awesome. This TikTok artist primarily works in traditional medium, and the tutorial video that had been circulating around was them basically demonstrating how they get an effect that they use in a lot of their pieces. I'm presuming that somebody had asked them, how do you do your water backgrounds? In the video, which I'm going to link down in the description, the TikTok channel I should say, it's this Gremren on TikTok. That was the artist who did this tutorial. And they're using Posca pens and basically breaking down the technique used to create this very flowy, watery background. I am in a hurry and I don't have Posca pens, so I decided to do this all digitally, which is kind of a hassle for me because I don't really have a tablet or anything, so everything I do, I have to do using my mouse, which is very, very tedious, very finicky, but before complaining too much, I'm going to say I actually ended up really liking the finished product. So before I even talk about the process or what I've done, I want to just really thank this person, this Gremren on TikTok. I'm gonna have their website like floating in the text above, and it'll be down in the description for y'all to check out if you want to try this out as well, or at least check out their art so that they have some credits. This was a life changer. This helped me out so much, and I'm so incredibly glad that I had thought about, like, I don't know how to save tweets, so I screen recorded the tutorial when I saw it last year. But unfortunately, because I didn't have any audio, because I was screen recording it off my laptop, I was scared I wasn't going to be able to find the person so that I could give them credit. So this is kind of like a word of warning or advice to anyone out there who's doing like tutorial videos. If it's something that's short form that's going to be kind of going around Twitter, it might not be a bad idea to do what this person did and put like a watermark somewhere on your video, or have it tagged somewhere in the video itself where you can see it, because I was able to then look at that. It was very like pixelated. It was very hard to kind of read, but I was able to read what their watermark was and then go to TikTok and find the tutorial so that I could share the link here. Otherwise I wasn't going to do this video at all, because I didn't want to like take credit for this technique that I did not come up with. So just a word of advice to anyone out there. It's a good idea if you do that short form media to kind of put your watermark somewhere just so that, you know, people can find you if they see your stuff floating around somewhere that isn't like the original posting location. So the technique is basically you need to take 3 colors. You need to have like a darker color and a medium hue. They can be any color. They don't have to be within the same family. And when we get to the end of the video, I'm going to share what the final piece looks like, because I did change up the colors a bit because I'm looking into color theory and I'm trying to make sure that my colors look really good together for this, because I'm using a lot of them. But there is a method to the madness, even though I'm using like the whole rainbow in this submission. But you want to start with like the lower level being like a darker color and then having a medium color. And what you want to do is, depending on, you know, which way you work, you can start with like a field of the medium color. That's one method. And then like draw blobs of the darker color. Or you can invert that process and start with the field of the darker color and then use the medium color to come in and start drawing that lighter lacing throughout the piece. And as the person, this Gremren, talks in her TikTok, you want to make sure that the shapes are flowy. They don't have to be all the same size. They don't have to be exactly the same, but they do need to be kind of flowy, which I nitpicked. And, you know, this video, I've obviously time-lapsed everything so that it could be shorter, but what I recorded was 45 minutes of fiddling. I didn't record all of this because I just wanted to get this done because I've got a deadline of October 25th and I was feeling the heat even then. I started doing this like back in September and I was already panicking. Oh my god, I'm not going to get this done in time. So because I don't have Posca pens, I chose to do this in the computer because I could replicate and kind of manipulate some of the blobs and shapes a lot quicker than if I were doing this traditionally. I mean, to be fair, I might be able to do it quicker traditionally just because that's usually how I work best. But at the same time, if I messed up, I feel like I would have panicked and felt like I needed to start over, which may have kind of snowballed and made this take longer traditionally. I don't know for a fact, but at any rate, I chose to go the digital route. I did a lot of copying and pasting of the elements because I used layers for, like, when I started putting the lightest color, which is the third part of this technique. You do a lighter color of blobs and you leave the inside of that lighter lacing transparent so that you can see the darker hues underneath. So I feel like even though it took me kind of long to do just this one background, which is for just one panel on one page, I think that it was well worth the work. And I may have already done this, but I put this on my pattern forum post over in Comic Theory because I will probably use this again, but because I put so much work into it, if anybody else wants to use this, it's free to use. I don't care. Just don't claim that you made it. You can use it. You don't even need to give me credit. I don't even give a shit. Just use it like you would if you bought it somewhere. The link to my pattern forum post is down in the description too, and those are all things that you can use if you want. I still need to add like this cloud pattern that I've been working on, but obvious reasons. I've had too many projects going on, so I haven't really had time to actually get my butt in gear and finish that. One issue I kept having was sometimes I'd get the lines too thin, so then I would use the bucket tool to darken things up, and then I felt that made things look a little too blocky, so I'd go back in and erase a little bit or add a little bit of color with like the brush pen, and it I think turned out pretty well. Now, what this Gremren was saying in their video is that you don't have to use different shades and tints of the same hue, which is how I started this project. I used all blues. I just used different tints and basically values of the blue. But what I ended up doing was changing the dark color. I'm almost positive. Yeah. The dark color that is a dark blue, I end up changing to be a purple, which I think really really helps make this not be so monochromatic, because I also, as you saw, if any of y'all watched last week's video, I ended up making the outlines of Rin's body and that detailing. I made that a purple, so I feel like that ties everything in. I always think blue and purple go very well together personally. I was trying to look at like what in color theory that would be called, but I've been too busy to really like actually hyper focus on that. So if anybody knows, leave it down in the description below. I would appreciate that. But yeah, I think this turned out very well, and I honestly don't have that much more to say about this piece. I've got a deadline of October 25th coming up here for this project. I will definitely be discussing when the Kickstarter begins and going into detail about where to go and stuff of that nature. I might even have a couple more videos regarding this project, but I'm contractually not allowed to show finished pages until a couple months after all of the books have shipped, because these are going to be printed, hard copy books. Oh my god, I'm so excited for it, y'all. Even if it like, I don't know, like I'm getting paid for it, but like I just want, like, looking at everybody's, we get to see everybody's works in progress in the collective. And the people who are not in the collective, we've got like locked channels that those people are allowed to like post their works in progress. And oh my god, these things are, it's just banging. This artwork is so freaking awesome. And there's like a couple short stories and there's like a quiz and stuff. One of the short stories that I've read is really, really well done. And it's all magical girl 90s themed. So I am so stoked for this thing to like get out there, because it's really promising to look good. And we've already like our head witch, as we call her. She is working on like the design for like the cover, and everything is just, it's coming together so nicely. I cannot wait to see the finished thing, and I can't wait to share the Kickstarter with you all. And I think that about wraps up what I want to talk about in this video. So please, if you're interested, go check out Gremren at TikTok. Very cool artwork. There's a lot of like water lilies and frogs and watery backgrounds, and their art is really freaking cool. So definitely check them out, or check out their tutorial, which I think they do a much better job of describing the processing, as they're the ones who made the tutorial video. So please go check that out. If you have any questions, leave them down in the description. Otherwise, I will be back next week with our monthly Q&A, and that's all I got to say. Peace and love, fare you well, and keep on trucking.